So layer 2 is a little bit more complicated. Basically what we're doing is we're trying to use as much of the old formation as possible, and we're going to basically interface from this point here and interface with the tin on either side. And this basically is demonstrated pretty well in the introduction of pavement overlay drawings, videos number 3. But I'm just going to quickly reapply the functions for my client's benefit. So the next step is a little bit more complicated. We have basically a varied depth between the existing road surface and our proposed cross section. But basically what we wanted to do was we basically want to interface from the existing, what I'm going to call edge of sill edge of gravel road, and interface it to matching the crossfall of the road and interface with the road section / tin, and do the same on the right hand side. So to do that, it's done using a function, and it's found under design roads more subgrade interface function. And on the left hand side, you'll find that we are basically creating a new string, we're pasting under a new model. We're interfacing with a road surface tim from the apply many function, which is called this Menic overlay. We're basically referencing from the design alignment for chainage reasons. We're then using a hinge string, which is this LTSH, and basically we're using the crossfall from the road. So we're using from the road center line this string here, and then here we're using the edge of sill here. So we hit process. So we just wait for my slow laptop, and if we now turn on that Menic widen string subgrade, you'll see an interface, and we do the same on the right hand side, and you'll see another interface string. So to generate all the strings for boxing layer 2, we basically will copy most of the design road surface strings first, and we'll delete the strings that we don't want. So basically how I do that is I go change, I'll basically copy the Menic design strings, and I'll call that this one here. I'm just going to call it testing to show you the process. I'm not actually going to use it, and I basically will hit copy, and what I will do is I'll delete all the strings that I don't want. So what that includes is basically all the strings within my interface string. So in between here and here, I'll use all the strings outside, but I'll delete all the ones inside. So if I was to turn all those road strings on, basically we're talking about this string here, this string here, this string here, this string here, and this string here. How I would do that is I'd go to this filter command. I would pick the model, and then I'd pick the strings that I want to delete. So the first string is ECL, I delete that one. I delete that one. I delete the center line. I delete EPR. And I delete ECR. I'm then going to duplicate my my subgrade interface strings that I just created, or I'm going to copy them into that same model. So I go change, I pick those subgrade models, and then I copy them to that testing layer that I just created. And finally, I'm going to copy over these strings of the existing road surface and put them in that cross section as well. So to do that, obviously I use this filter command. So I'm picking the OG model, and I'm picking that LTSH string, and I'm going to copy that to that testing model that I just created. I'm going to copy this center line as well, and I'm also going to copy this LTH. So now when I look, I've created all my strings for the second layer down, and I create a section, using the boxing many function. So what I would then pick is I create a new function. I pick the same boxing file that I created using for the road surface. I pick my design alignment. This would be that testing layer model that I just created, but obviously I'm going to use the one that I created previously. I'm then going to create new sections for these strings, and I'm going to hit run. I then turn that on. I'll turn on my original 120, and now you'll see that we've got two layers using strings that we created using that subgrade interface, and also the original MTF 120mm layer. So the rest of the boxing layers are all done in this boxing many function, mainly because we've created a new design surface that we're basically using to run all our boxing files from. So to do that, we just got to create new strings and layers for the next two layers. So which is that boxing function there in the undercut. We're then basically applying a pit run that runs basically from here to here, and I'll just turn that on to show you that what it's done. And I'll explain within the edit definitions what it's actually doing here. So I'll just open that up, Medic Road. So what I'm doing is I'm talking about this third layer now. So I'm talking about the pit run layer, and obviously I've set it up. This is very similar to how I set up the ACP. I can either have one template that runs along the whole road, or you could basically set templates left hand side or right hand side. So I'll open that up, and we'll just start in what we're starting with. So the very first string is always on the left hand side, and the string that we're copying is this seal point, and basically what that point is this point here, this seal string, and we're basically dropping that 400mm. So if I was to turn on the strings as well, yeah, you'll see a seal string created 400mm lower from this point here, and you can see copy seal drop by 400mm. We then go to the next point, which is this OG string that this LTSH string that we created, and basically what I'm doing is I'm just offsetting it by like a mil, but I'm still dropping it by 400mm. I'm giving it a new name, so I'm calling it box, and you'll see a string created here called LTSH, and it's basically using that -001 offset and putting a box name. I'm then basically going to the next string, and I'm copying LTSH, and I've got no offset and no height difference, so it's creating another string here called LTSH. And basically what it will do then is the next string that I'm copying down is this RTSH, and once again I've got copy LTSH here, and I'm dropping it by nothing and changing the offset. I'm then creating another string here saying RTSH, and I'm basically giving it an offset, and I'm dropping it by 400mm. And the final string is this SIR, and I'm dropping it down here 400mm. And obviously I've got my interface is turned on to go right here, and to interface from here to here. So my left hand side and right hand side are set up slightly different. On this side here, my left hand side, it's very similar to the one that runs right the way through, but instead of copying this RTSH, what I'm doing is I'm copying the center line for the right hand side, and on the left hand side, sorry, the right hand side, we start at the center line, which is this EXCL, and then basically this is the same copy down strings for the right hand side. So once again, in my apply many function, for boxing many function, as I said earlier, I could be applying a template on just the right hand side, or we could be placing one on the left hand side and the right hand side. Obviously this is a pretty simple road, and I find it quicker to just set it up this way, but obviously it comes down to personal preferences. So just one more step, I just wanted to explain the full construction part. Basically between change 400 and change 1000, we have we basically changing the template again to run right the way through, and that template is set up once again slightly different, and all this one's doing is it starts very similar. We're basically copying the seal string, which is this string here, 400 down. We're copying the LTSH 400 down, but we just haven't created the zero back up, and instead we're copying the center line and we're dropping it down 400. We then go to the RSCH, so we're dropping that 400, and we're going to this SIR and we're dropping that 400. And finally, the undercut boxing file under layer 2. We've just applied another undercut layer, and we've placed it under Minec undercut. So I'm just going to turn on those strings as well. And you can see for this full construction we're ripping out all the way through, but the rest of the site we have it tying back up. And to explain the edit definitions, we just have to go along the string. So the first one here is this left batter string that we're copying, and we're dropping this left batter and we're dropping it down 600. We're then basically going to this string here, which is LTSH box, and we're dropping that down by 600. So I'm just copying this one. Sorry, there's two strings there. Yeah, LTSH box, and I'm dropping that by 600. And I'm offsetting it. Actually, no, I'm not offsetting it. I'm then dropping this, and then copying back up to the LTSH. And then basically on the right hand side, I'm dropping this. I'm copying this RTSH by no height, and then I'm dropping this string here, RTSH, and I'm dropping that by 600. And finally, we're going to this this right batter string here, and we're dropping that by 600. And then obviously we have the interfacing either side.